to Two Lush Mamas. We've got Brittany and Keely. We are here with Mr. Mark Tanner of Deception Cellars and Seattle Mead Company. We are here to do a special holiday-themed tasting.
We're very excited.
Yep. I'm
excited.
excited.
Some very unique stuff for us to try. He's going to tell us a little bit about.
One of the great things about it is that he's here in Anacortes, Washington. So he is local to all of us Whidbey Islanders and is actually originally from Seattle. So you're local and you're now.
Ballard kid.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. And I know I was going to let you.
We want to let you take it. And we wanted to know a little bit about your journey with mead, beer, and wine, and how you got started on mead.
21 years in the Army. Spent a bunch of time in Germany and came back home to the States and couldn't get my great German beers anymore. So I started brewing them myself. That was 1995.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And was a home brewer for about a dozen plus years, and then started judging beer and started entering competitions and entering my beers all over the country and some international competitions as well. And then the natural progression is you start making cider, and then you start making mead, and I have an affinity for doing this.
And now, and then you got
and you share it with everybody.
Yep.
We're so excited. And then you also judge mead and beer, right?
Yep, I was Washington's first mead judge. I took the first national exam that they provided. The beer judging certification program runs that.
And you were the first actually accredited judge in Washington State, and you taught that before a little bit.
Yep, and then the next two classes, the next couple dozen judges all got the class from me.
That is amazing.
Yeah, when I read that, I actually started looking into the program. I was like, I want to know. We can take this.
There's a lot of great information out there, and it's one of the few organizations that has defined, this is what these particular beer styles or cider styles should be, and it gives you lots of different commercial examples, so you can find commercial examples and do some of your own tasting practicing.
That's the hard shit. Is you're gonna have to taste a lot, and know what you're working with. We all make sacrifices.
So do you have a favorite holiday tradition? Since we're doing a little holiday.
Yeah, we gotta keep it in the holiday spirit. So
my favorite holiday tradition. Thanksgiving's always my favorite holiday.
What's your favorite holiday?
And just because my birthday is in a couple days.
So happy early birthday!
Thank you. Yeah, it's Monday. And so I would get to see all my relatives, and then I'd get a bunch of early birthday presents, and it was always I was going to be a rock star on Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is always
So we're gonna keep working it. We're keeping it in the holiday spirit here. So we got some fun questions too for keep it in.
I actually have one more question about the beer and mead tasting.
Yeah.
Do you have any pointers for people when you go to taste mead or beer that you recommend people looking for?
You just, I did a BJCP interview one time, and they said, "What's your most important tool to you?" And I said, "My taste buds."
Right.
And spending 21 years in the Army, I got to live in Europe and Asia, and for a while, for 3.5 years, I got to live in many consider the seat of beer in Germany.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it. When I moved there, I was a hard liquor guy, because my dad was a hard liquor guy, right? So I liked beer. I drank beer, but I wasn't.
Well, it's a little bit different too, like their foundation of beer compared to the American version of beer. So you get to go there, and it's a little bit more. It really helps broaden your knowledge of what beer is supposed to be, as far because it's original for foundation.
Well, and a lot of the styles were created because they had certain types of malt that they could grow, they had certain types of hops they could grow, they had certain water character. So tasting those local versions of those beers makes you a much better judge and gives you a lot of palate and muscle memory when you're judging beer.
I like that. Do we have palate muscle memory yet?
We're working on it.
We're gonna work on that. We'll call that that's a goal. So
on our list.
Yeah. So you're here. So you've got your Seattle Mead, which you've done quite well for yourself. In case we haven't mentioned it yet, which I know I wrote about this, but Seattle Mead is actually, they have won the Mazer Cup World Championship for best mead, and they also you can't see it, unfortunately. We'll show you guys. We're gonna have to post some pictures of this. But there's actually a wall of awards that Mark has that he's won for his mead and his cider. And so it's quite impressive. So not only is he a judge, he's quite accomplished as a mead and cider maker. And also we have wine here as well,
which we're very excited to try.
So we've definitely got a few things here. So considering you've actually dabbled a little bit with every kind of variety, why mead? Because you've had quite a bit of success with mead.
Honey.
Yeah.
And honey is the greatest sugars you can ferment with. And being a Washington kid, growing up picking blackberries and raspberries and apples.
You were talking about that, like the P&W field.
Well, and like up here in the Willamette Valley, where we get most of our blackberries and raspberries, 90% of all the raspberries in the country grow right here, just south of the border in Linden.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like anything you get from Smuckers,
right?
Like blackberries, raspberry stuff, it's all here. I mean, my blackberry and raspberry guys do millions of pounds of those. They sell me tens of thousands of pounds because I do cool stuff with them. But
you absolutely do.
Which I am really excited to try.
Yeah, we're gonna try some of these, and I know one of the things that we were that we had talked about previously too was that mead actually. So beer glasses, wine glasses, they all have their special glasses. Mead has a special glass as well. And no,
we're all over the place.
Oh, you're all over the place.
We're all over the place.
Okay.
Now I prefer a Beaujolais glass.
Okay.
For my mead, just because most of the stuff we do are very fruity.
Right.
Lots of fruit bombs here in Deception Cellars tasting room.
Yes.
And this allows like all of those fruit aromas to get
aerated
out. And to get kind of condensed.
Okay.
To your nose. And so we're drinking out of these today.
Okay.
But
so they have because there's actually 4 styles of mead glasses. And I know I told my husband, I was like, so do you know what you drink mead out of? He's like, a horn. It's a horn. I'm like, no, we're not doing horns. Yes, horns. He was so excited.
Horns are cool, but they're not going to give you the best tasting experience for your
old Viking
product.
horn.
You might have to get it for Christmas.
Right.
Well, I've been thinking about hanging one here somewhere. I don't know where yet.
You get blown out more than you do happy hour.
That's right.
That would be fantastic. Okay, so what do you have here for us?
Let's kind of start at the top. Let's start with some traditionals.
Okay.
Which are chilled. Let me grab my fridge.
Perfect.
I'm so excited.
So you have 16?
I think I have 16 things for sampling today.
He has 16 things that are currently available for sampling down here at Deception Cellars in Anacortes, Washington. If you're local, it's at Sharp's Corner. You should know where Sharp's Corner is.
For the record, we have a designated driver.
So a lot of times you'd go from drier to sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start with traditionals.
Okay.
So you got to get a good understanding of what honey, water, and yeast does when you ferment it into a lovely beverage. And this first one is a 2017 Orange Blossom traditional mead.
Wow.
And
that's beautiful color.
And a lot of my beer judging friends and some of the guys and gals are some of the best judges in the country. A lot of them have a position that if you use Orange Blossom honey, you need to get docked 5 points in competition because it's unfair to all the other kids on the table that you have better honey than they do. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is one of the few honeys that I won't make traditional meads unless I have very specific honeys.
Okay.
And this is one of them. This is one of my favorites. And there's California Orange Blossom and there's Florida Orange Blossom. And a lot of the Florida Orange Blossom, they call it Orange Blossom. A lot of the Florida honeys are actually more citrus blossom because there's a lot more grapefruit and lemons near the orange field, so the bees kind of mix and match.
That makes sense.
Whereas in California, there's these vast California orange groves, so you can get some really, really true traditional.
What do you prefer?
Oh, I prefer the California.
The California.
Yeah, the orange blossom and citrus blossom is great, But the orange blossom is one of my favorite honeys.
And you can really taste the orange in here.
That orange blossom it's actually quite forward.
And this is sweeter. This is a little more on the sweeter end of the things that we're going to try today. But
wow.
So this next one is from, I think this is avocado blossom and orange blossom.
Ooh.
And this was an experiment that we did. This was 2016, I think, where we were experimenting with some different wood aging. So we aged with some French oak. We aged with some American oak. We aged with some medium toast, medium plus toast, just to kind of see. And this one is interesting. Once this one ages like 5 years, the wood turns almost this little caramel. You get this little caramely.
So how long do you normally age it? 5 years?
That's just how old this one happens to be. I had some and I pulled it out of the cellar recently. I don't have any of this for sale. I just brought this as an example of a wood aged traditional.
That's amazing, and
you can definitely tell the difference between this one and the one before.
This one definitely has that wood aspect much more than the other one did.
I love
but it's that's amazing.
The other one didn't have any wood on it at all. It was just a straight traditional honey water use.
You're already pairing it. What are you pairing it with?
I think it's really good with the summer salad, like a blueberry balsamic with some of that.
I actually was thinking of like a glazed pork tenderloin.
So we're gonna stay on the lighter end for this next one. So this is what's called a piment, Pyment.
Okay.
And a piment is a mead made with honey and grapes.
Honey and grapes. Wow. Okay.
So
this is the only one you have with grapes.
This is the only wine we are going to try today that I have that actually has grapes in it. And this is from a Liebfraumilch, which is just it's a German table wine. The Liebfraumilch grapes get all kind of blended together, and it's just generally thought of as a cheaper table wine, but it also tends to be a little bit sweeter.
Okay.
So what I do for this one is I make the wine, and I make it just bone dry, like almost undrinkably dry, and then I make preferably an orange blossom traditional, and then blend them to get something that I find that's how I get the sweetness out of it. The sweetness out of the wine is to do it through the honey sweetness.
That's phenomenal.
And that's a range as well.
On your palate, it's got a really interesting mouthfeel to it. It's just very light, and it goes very like I don't know, just high kind of like it's very chewy. It is a little chewy.
And you see that finish. It's not a caramel, but
it's a warm, like a very warm.
But that's what the wood eventually does after like this one's probably 2015, 2016.
Okay.
So it's got a little bit of age on it.
We're not leaving here without a couple cases.
I have plenty stuff.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to the Deception Cellars wines, and this is what I really want. And this one.
This is passion.
In fact, hold on a second.
So now the fourth one we're doing is Deception Cellars Red Blend, which we're going to tons of notes.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah, it's alright. This is Black Friday afternoon, so this was like Lush Mama crazy shopping through the morning from 5 a.m. and then crazy, and then now we're like wind down and do some mead and wine tasting.
Which I had to shout out to my dad because he was a trooper. He went Black Friday shopping with us and woke up really early, and he's been driving us around, and literally we'll just look at a store and be like, oh, I wonder what this is like, and he's like, whoop, pull over, get out girls, go check it out.
Cheers, Mike.
Thanks, Dad.
So this is our red blend 1. This is red blend 1, Deception Cellars first blend, and it's called The Future.
I love it.
This smells like we've had your mead.
And
smells like
2 weeks ago, this was named as the #1 dry fruit mead in the world.
Wow.
Really?
#1 dry fruit. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. In the world. This is amazing.
Yeah. This took first in the Mazer Cup, and its sister Blend 2 took second. I really was surprised by that. I really thought that Blend 2 was going to beat this one, but hey, the judges have spoken.
So,
gotta listen.
you guys, Anacortes, Washington.
Right here in our hometown, real close.
#1
in the world.
You need to come and try it.
So this has, it was a blackberry and raspberry
Definitely get
honey wine, and it was
I
kind
can
of
taste
pro raspberry, like 60-40 raspberry blackberry.
Yeah.
And then we laid 1,400 pounds of dark sweet Washington cherries on it for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, we frosted that.
It
That's
was
really good.
so good.
Yeah,
Wow.
so this one, there's
Yes.
some blackberry in there, but what you really get, I think, is like when I entered it as a raspberry and cherry.
Yeah.
I get the cherry at the end, like that tart.
I think the blackberry really rounds out the base of it, though. I mean, so my dad, I know he's watching, loves to make homemade blackberry wine. That's his passion every summer. Every summer he's like head to toe covered in scratches because he's out there picking blackberries in the bushes.
I've been there.
He's purple up to here.
Yeah.
You know? So I definitely, but he does raspberry wine as well, and I know that the raspberry wine, I can taste the blackberry because of that.
It's so good.
So humor me.
That's amazing.
Humor me.
Okay.
Tell me what you think of this one. I'm just going to give you a splash of this. This is the exact same wine you just tried.
Oh, okay.
Except this was open like almost 10 days ago.
Okay.
So it definitely smells more mellow. Like you don't get so much of the fruit board and smell.
It's dissipated a little bit. Actually,
But it changed the taste.
See,
the alcohol, I feel like I can taste the alcohol a little bit more.
and look at the legs on that.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, check that
She's
out.
got legs for days.
Yeah. You put it in a
There's
really
This
nice
is
wine
the
glass.
way that
holding
you want
it there.
as your woman.
Yeah.
Right here.
So this wine never goes bad.
Wow.
I can put a tea cork
We
back
need
on
a
this.
bottle of that too.
I can put a tea cork back on this and come back a week, a month, a year, 5 years later, and it will still drink right as well.
It changes the taste a little bit, but
It does.
it's still just this. It's
I actually like
different
it.
variations of the
It's
same
Yeah,
wine.
see, I almost like for Red Blend 1, I almost like it better after I've opened it, let it breathe, you know, for sometimes a few hours even. Put it back in the fridge. Took whatever was left, put it back in the fridge, and then pulled it out a day or 2 or 3 or more later.
Do you ever try it with like an aerator? Does it?
Oh
does
yeah.
that help you with?
So last Christmas I bought myself a really nice aerator, and I started just playing like crazy with these, and everything's better aerated.
Yeah.
Everything's better aerated. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It
So-
also is like, it's really kind of like, it kind of dances
Thanks.
with its flavors on your tongue. Like it just kind of, it's
So-
very tantalizing.
So this is Red Blend 2. This
This
you know,
is sister
this
to Red
only
Blend.
this only took third in the world in 2021. For
Only third in the world.
Only
for,
third?
for at the Mason Cup. Yes.
Oh, can't all be.
And I'll be number 1.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
can't win #1 in everything, Mark.
No.
The rest of them you
He just has 1, 2,
They
and
just stand a
3.
chance.
He
They
has
show
1,
up
2,
and
and
they're
3.
they're like Mark's here. We're going home.
Well, I just have really great ingredients. I just have really.
Well, you're working with, which actually is one of the things that we should also mention, is that you got a lot of local stuff in your wine, and all of your flavors are really there. Pacific Northwest flavors and even personality in a bottle. Like that's what we are in Pacific Northwest. It's these rich, deep flavors that you can't find elsewhere in the States.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how to integrate that into our marketing.
Right. It's
Can you tell us a little bit about the process for mead?
Sure. So for these, we made a 5,000 gallon batch and a 2,500 gallon batch.
Wow.
And we dissolve the honey in warm water.
Right.
And get it to the right sweetness level.
Yeah.
And then we add the yeast, add some yeast nutrient, get it going for half a day, and then we add thousands and thousands of pounds of whole fruit. Yeah, the last 5,000 gallon batch and the 2,500 gallon batch, we had 37,000 pounds of whole fruit.
Wow.
37.
Well, this counts as having your fruit serving.
Yeah. USDA says it's good.
Okay.
This is healthy.
This is actually a fruit, so I wasn't count.
Which it really is full of antioxidants.
It is, yes, it is.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the reasons why this lasts so long. I mean, just because we ferment out the sugars, all the antimicrobial properties and the honey and all that, it's all still there.
Yeah,
and honey is actually very naturally antibacterial in many ways for you.
Yeah.
So it's the season to drink more mead.
Yeah.
And I can't officially claim health benefits, but my ingredients are really freaking healthy. They're really healthy.
I'm gonna justify buying a lot of bottles because it's really healthy.
Well, in December, I don't know anybody else who celebrates Yule, but we do Yule.
Yes.
And you need to drink mead with Yule. That's your classic traditional drink.
So let me go to our session.
Oh, okay.
Which this is probably a good transition into the other stuff, and I've got it on tap here.
While you're
And
you guys, we are taking the legwork out of it for you. We're gonna taste it all for you so that you can see what's
And right now, it's gonna be really hard for us to tell you which one to get because everything we've tasted is just amazing.
We're gonna suffer and taste them all. Don't worry.
this was Seattle Mead's first offering.
This smells so good.
And this is similar.
Wow.
This is similar to what you had before, but it's a little sweeter. And we called this Blackberry and tart raspberry.
Okay. I'm really
Oh
impressed
my goodness.
by because these have some alcohol to them, but honestly there's no alcohol burn. You balance it really well.
Thanks.
Is that a trade secret? Like how well you balance that? Because
that's what I do. That is my thing. Well, because all of these ferment almost bone dry, like almost undrinkably dry. Meaning, when you talk about wine evaluation, same thing with mead evaluation.
Right.
It's four legs of a stool of alcohol, sweetness, acid, and structure.
Right.
And that stool can be short, it can be tall, but it has to be balanced.
Yes.
It has to be balanced. You don't want one of those legs wobbling on you.
All over.
And because of the traditionally higher alcohol that I have, the Seattle Mead Company stuff gets almost to 15, and this stuff gets 17 and a half.
Yeah.
I need to add some additional sugars.
Okay.
And plus we have a tremendous amount of acid in the berries that we use.
Yeah, they have natural acid.
So I tend to have a higher natural acid than most wines from grapes. And if we wood age it, I mean I have very tall stools.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're all balanced.
Yeah, they're all balanced.
Very tall, very high.
But yeah, to do that, I have to add some more sweetness to it.
Right. Okay.
And a lot of people, like the other winemakers that I work with, the professional winemakers that I work with, like, hey Mark, try this, do this, and they don't necessarily, they're coming up with good ideas, but they're not always a great balanced wine. And a lot of times they're taking something that I've spent a lot of time balancing. And I mean, to get to those two, over a 3-month period, I probably blended 300 wines. To get to these 4, we had 9 different wines that went into them, and I blended like 700 over like a 5-month period.
So you put 300 blended in to create these?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I blended from.
So you can recreate that, right?
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I got all my notes. I
Okay.
really, every time about my tasting notes,
That's impressive.
Yeah, we went from like 300 down to like 20, and then I set them in packs of 10.
Okay.
And I launched them off to retailers, cider makers I know, beer brewers that I know, other wine, other winemakers, and some people that knew my stuff, some people that didn't, and said, rank them from which ones do you like best? And I said, if you want to tell me why, great. If you don't, I don't care. I just want, because at the end of the day, does it really matter why you like something better than you? No, not necessarily. It's good discussion.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I want to know which ones you like best. And if you give me information on that, okay, that's great. I can integrate that into my system.
Right.
But and then we did that twice, and then we got down to like 8, and then those 8 got down to 4, and those 4, awesome. Those are the 4 wines that I have right now at the winery, and they're really great. I didn't bottle any of them.
Oh.
I packaged 2 and 2 to get to those.
Wow.
So those have been folded like 3 times.
Wow. Well, obviously you know what you're doing because you've got world champion bottles of wine here. So
number 1 was number 1 and number 2 was number 2, correct?
Number 1, yeah. The La Nuit de Beau, the red blend 2 took 3rd.
And this one took number 1.
Yeah.
The future.
Yeah, the future was number 1 in the dry
And this
fruit category.
This was a cider.
No, that is a mead. It's 9.5%.
It almost tastes slightly carbonated.
It is carbonated.
Oh, it is carbonated.
That was our first offering in Seattle Mead.
Okay.
And so for 8 months or 9 months, the only thing I had was that and the keg, and we sold it all over Seattle.
This is
I have to tell you, I'm normally not a huge mead fan. Not that I don't like it, but it's not. I've had a lot of them where they're just overly sweet for me.
She has a problem with the sweetness.
Yeah.
So,
and
but
your
and if they're too sweet, they're out of balance.
Your meads are phenomenal.
Thanks.
And I encourage everybody to try his meads if you have ever doubts about mead, because this changed my life.
Anybody, whether you don't like mead or don't drink a lot of mead, it's really worth coming down here and trying this to see what mead is supposed to taste like. Because
they're so good.
Right. I'm like, set that aside. We're gonna take
that one too.
Don't judge. No. So, all right, we're gonna throw in another holiday trivia question here. What's your favorite holiday movie?
I don't know. Probably A Christmas Story, just because.
That's a good one.
Just because as a kid, it's always on. I watched it,
Shoot your eye.
lots of times. And,
I love that one.
It's a good one. We were actually just talking about the other night about BDs. Tubes.
Oh, the tubes. I'm from Canada.
Okay.
So,
From Canada.
yes. So
A-dubs are going to start now.
they're tubes. Well,
I had never heard of a tube until she was sitting here and she kept talking about a toque, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, do you have a toque? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is a toque?
You
She's like, a toque. And I'm like, no, I don't know a toque. What are you talking about? She's like, like the hats. And I'm like, a beanie? She's like, no, it's a toque. That was, we're in the stores now, and I'm like, oh, look, there's a toque.
yeah, it's a thing.
Shall we
All right.
graduate to the Seattle Mead stuff?
Yeah.
So this has sweetness meters on it.
Right.
Ooh.
Which is a lot of people buy mead, they either like it dry, they like it sweet. I like them semi-sweet just because I find them the most poundable. Kind of an off-dry to semi.
Okay.
And that's kind of what we were doing with this. And in 2019, this was the number 1 semi-sweet fruit mead in the world. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so Blackberry is not.
This is
Are these all the berries that are in it?
Yep. It's blackberry, raspberry, and black currant.
And black currant.
Ooh.
And anybody who hasn't had black currants before, black currants, I love currants. Okay, black currants, they are just such an amazing tartness.
This is phenomenal too.
You can smell it.
Oh my goodness.
The currant you get a lot of
current
that
is
tart.
so much of that currant.
This is probably my favorite blend of all the things I've blended. Just because when you first open it, you get a different combination of the blackberries, raspberries, and black currants. You get a different combination in the front, middle, and the back.
Yeah.
And as it opens up and breathes, the sands shift under your feet.
I love the mouthfeel.
And this was open 2.5 weeks ago.
This
wow.
Yeah.
It does not. No, it does not affect it.
It's so good.
So this is.
And look at the legs on this.
It's around 14.5%.
Yep.
Again, you're not getting that heavy alcohol.
Not at all.
Honestly, when you're drinking wine that's at 14.5%, you know you are usually. This
Yep.
is not. You don't taste that.
It's
Mark
dangerous.
is so balanced.
Thanks.
Like perfectly.
This is. Yeah, you're like I can sit down and drink a whole bottle. You might not.
We're gonna be here all day, guys.
Yeah. A bottle of this goes down pretty easy. So the next two, this next one is a similar sweetness level, and this one is our blackberry black currant, which we probably should have called black currant blackberry because it is very black curranty. And what I'm going to ask you to do is once you get to the end of your sample, and you have just maybe like that or a little less than that, I'm going to have you hold it save that much in your glass.
Okay.
Because this chocolate berry and this blackberry black currant were the exact same wine for 9 months. They lived in the fermenter together, and the last 5 weeks of the chocolate one's life, we aged on organic cocoa nibs. And it doesn't make it taste chocolatey, but it completely changes the wine and completely changes the finish.
Your dry meter, so your blackberry black currant is more medium dry, and then your chocolate berry is on the sweeter side.
Yes, because it got some cocoa nibs and some chocolate.
Wow, really? So we're gonna try that.
Oh, when it smells the currant.
This is the one that I bought this before, and so I had my family come down and visit from Canada when the borders finally reopened, and they had to go do their COVID testing in order to go back across the border.
Oh, they were here.
They were talking about this that we had tried, and I was like, just go in there. They're open. Go in there. Go talk to it. And they came back with the case, and they're like, oh my goodness, have you gone in there yet? I'm like, I've seen you there. It was. Yeah, they've been raving about it, and they came back with a case, and she goes, I would share with you, but you live right near them. You can go get some.
You can get your own.
I'm like, I shared with you, and you won't even share with me.
And this one is interesting because if we do a tasting like this is normally either people's favorite or least favorite. You know what I mean? They either really love the currant because of the tartness. And you know what's interesting is, so most of my brewery friends, if they're just selling alcohol on their brewery license, like I'm just selling wine right on my winery license, so I can't theoretically serve beer on my winery license. Okay. Now the state in 2019 added a new endorsement, so now I can spend $200 a year and I can serve up to 3 Washington beers. So my brewery friends, like if I walked in there, most of them would go, "Hey Tanner, did you bring me some meat?" And I better say, "Of course I did."
Yeah.
And most of them are serving 3 wines. Mm-hmm. So they do a red and a white. And like, ooh, pick us, be the third one, right?
Right.
And most of them, that if they only serve one of ours, serve the blackberry black currant. And I think it's because, do you ladies ever drink sour beers?
Yes.
So
I love sour beers.
So the positive acidity in the black currant and in this wine is very similar to the same positive acidity that you find in a really good sour beer, which is why I think my beer friends tend to graduate.
Those sour beers and that bacteria that creates I really love that, and this is, for me, when I'm drinking this, I do get that tart, like it's that.
I love that mouthfeel.
Yeah. It really fills your palate. So it's quite interesting. So
I'm glad you said mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel.
So what I'm going to have you do is finish that and and just leave it on your
Just
palate
leave it
for a
bit
second.
more, okay.
Leave it on your palate for a second while I charge your glass. And then as that clears your palate, I want you to hit your palate with this right behind it, and you'll really see the difference in the finish, what the coconuts did.
I can taste it at the end on the finish. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you put it in a big red wine glass, you get this chocolate nose and you get the finish, and there's not really chocolate flavoring to it.
No.
So, but your brain tells you there is because you get it in the nose and you get it in the finish. And
I love the mouthfeel. All of these wines so far, they just have an amazing mouthfeel. I love it.
But I think that's part of how he's really worked towards
His balance.
that balance, is that it really does fill the palate in a way that you want your wines to. I'm not getting an alcohol burn, even though it's high alcohol. I mean, I'm not getting overwhelmed by sweet. I definitely, you've got that tartness on the palate where it's the drying notes where, you know, I can tell that you started these as a dry kind of, you know, mead or wine. It's, you can tell that foundation is all there, and then it just finishes with these different.
Perfect.
It
And
is.
you know, and one of the things I always look for in wines and really anything is I like that tantalizing, the dancing on your tongue that happens. And all of these, they just dance, and it's amazing. I love that. It's my favorite part of it.
Absolutely.
so the last one from Seattle Mead is our strawberry blackberry, and this is the sweetest one. And this one, I didn't want this to be quite this sweet, but as we were back sweetening it, the blackberry was dominating the strawberry. So we kind of had to get a little sweeter than I wanted to get the strawberry to come out. And interestingly enough, this
Strawberry's hard. That would be a hard flavor.
it is.
Yeah,
Strawberry's tricky. And sometimes
lighter than you would think.
sometimes the other berries put strawberry on its shoulders.
Right.
And sometimes they put it in a headlock. And
I love that. That's a good yeah.
So are you on the shoulder or you're in a headlock?
Yeah. And
What did this one do?
so this summer, there was this thing this year. This summer, a bunch of people said there's a thing in the back that I don't like, and I could taste it too. And it was almost like, because wines do this sometimes too. They go through a dump phase, and this strawberry, because it was sweeter, ended up getting more oak than the other ones. And I'm wondering if it was kind of taken a few months to kind of work out the oak and the sweetness thing. But once again, I keep tasting it and kind of.
Are your strawberries out here or from?
Yeah. I get my strawberries from the same guys I get my blackberries from.
Oh, okay.
So all locally sourced.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, literally like less than 10 miles from
There you go. Hyper local.
See, I don't know, but I really love the ending of this.
Yeah, you see, and what's
To me, this is
what's
like what I
interesting
look for.
about this one is a little sweeter than I like to drink. Than I like to drink all night, right? When I first open it, and so I will have a glass, put it back in the fridge, have a glass, put it back in the fridge, and sometimes I'll come back like
I can see this being good going back to it.
I'll come back like a month later, and I'll go, wow, it is dried out.
Right.
And really changed.
Right.
So this one is really interesting. I almost like to let that one sit for 3 or 4 weeks after I open it in the fridge, and it goes through this,
I definitely get that punch of strawberry. Honestly, initially on the palate, that's the first thing I taste is a punch of strawberry, and then as it hits the back of my palate, I feel like it dries out. It dries out as it's going.
This is probably my favorite one, actually.
That's cool.
Really?
No, to be honest, I love the ending of this.
This is drinking really well right now because you get the sweetness, like you said, and then the wood is drying it out in the back. It's kind of a wash and rinse. It squeezes.
Right. It squeeges your tongue.
And you want to not wash it back. Yep.
All right. Well, it's kind of like when you have something really spicy. You just got to keep eating spicy.
Yep.
If you don't stop, then it never burns.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying, so initially you were saying that you weren't always a fan of mead because they're sweeter, and you don't like sweeter drinks. You like drier. That's his sweetest one, and that's your favorite.
But it has a drier finish. I don't know how to explain it.
No, because
Right.
I love it.
It's not about the sweetness, it's how it's put together, right? It's about how you're trying to.
So I'm
No, I understand.
And then here though, I'm like, I'm in awe right now because these are amazing. Mark is gonna be like, lunch mamas are not allowed back here because you're gonna.
Oh, I was going to go to the meth blends, the spice ones.
Oh.
But I forgot I have one more.
Okay.
And this is kind of a one-off, and this is black currant.
Ooh.
I mean, it is black.
And no, we're
just straight black currant?
Yeah, it's straight black currant.
Look at how beautiful that is. Like it really.
I'm trying to grow currants, and I'm on my
She's
second.
not doing very well.
No, I don't have a green thumb. I have a black thumb. On
No,
my
that's
second
not
year.
true. She's lying. She has an amazing garden. She does amazing hops, and she has amazing potatoes.
My hops do whatever they want. They're like, you can't kill us.
Go ahead and
my
try
parents.
it. Oh my gosh, Mark, this is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, this one,
goodness.
I
Did
blended.
you? This on wood?
This one got a little bit of wood aged, a little bit of wood
I can taste
aged.
that.
And a lot of times, what I will do instead of just like for instance, these, I had one wine that was really woody,
Mm-hmm.
and for those, I had 2,000 gallons that was almost undrinkably woody, and then I blend that in back into the similar recipe,
Okay.
into the same formula as far as the federal government's concerned, and then yeah.
That's all they need to know.
Wow.
That.
Renee's like,
This is
last
why I'm
word
gonna-
is mine.
And now the
Like,
interesting
hold
thing was,
on.
I have to finish it.
I brought this from home. I brought this from my cellar, from my home cellar, and I had it sitting under the bar for about a week, and a couple from Canada came by actually, and I opened this about a week ago. And I think I like it better now that it's been in the fridge for a week than right when it opened. It's
Okay,
different.
so we want to learn how you do this. We
Yeah.
need to do a Mead
We're
class.
gonna
Class.
we're gonna be experimenting at home now, and we're gonna be back in here. We're gonna be like,
We're like, Mark,
we're gonna be
try
like,
our cider.
taste this.
I'm an excellent Mead teacher. I will give you, and I tell people that want to know, because I want there to be lots of great
We
Mead
wanna
out
know.
there,
I
right?
wanna know.
And
Healthy
I will give you enough information to build you your own spaceship, and then you can fly in any direction you want. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I have a very, I fly in the fruit bomb direction. You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
can tell. A lot of your flavors are like the dark, rich Pacific Northwest flavors that we're seeing. And so I mean, I love the traditional ones that you rolled out, but you seem to, just from what you've got here, I can tell that you really favor those rich berry flavors that the Pacific Northwest has. Because that's what, you can tell what you're passionate about by what you've got here.
And maybe you see when they add like tasing Logans.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
No way.
No,
Yeah.
I'm so happy right now that you said Tayberry, because since
She
I moved
loves
down
Tayberry.
here, when I moved down here, everyone says it's a Loganberry, and I said no, it's a Tayberry, and they're like, no, it's Logan's. I don't know what a Tay is.
Okay, so do you know the genus?
Let me need to.
I don't know
So,
if they're
okay, so if you take a Northwest Blackberry, and they've got like 8 or 9 different, if you take generally Northwest Blackberry, and you blend it with a triploid raspberry,
Yes.
you get a Tayberry.
Yes.
And if you take a Tayberry and you blend that with a triploid raspberry, so 2 parts raspberry, 1 part blackberry, you get a Loganberry.
And we have.
If you blend the Tayberry with a blackberry, so 2 parts blackberry and 1 part raspberry, you get a boysenberry.
Is that what it is?
Yes. Yes.
That's how.
And we have the Loganberry Festival towards the end of the summer thing every year on Whidbey Island. There's the Loganberry Festival, and there's an abundance of Loganberries in this area, and they're phenomenal. But when I moved,
It's really hard to get right now.
yeah, well, when I moved here, I saw, because you actually can tell by the size.
Oh yeah.
There's a significant difference in the size. And when I moved here, I was like, oh, you've got Tayberries. And they went, no, we got Loganberries. I'm like, you know. It's a difference in the size. And so,
We actually, right next to our house, we have Tayberries.
yes, we do.
I think we actually.
Or we should do another holiday question once
Okay.
he's figuring out his wine.
Sure.
All right, name all of Santa's reindeer.
Ooh, that was
Yeah.
not a nice spread.
Yeah, I think, hold on. Dasher, Prancer, Donner, Blitzen, Comet, Cupid. Donner and Blitzen?
Nobody tell.
And Rudolph.
Don't forget Rudolph, who's the most important reindeer for the story.
He lights the way. You got them though. Yay!
That's true.
Teamwork makes the dream
I've
work,
watched some
guys.
family holiday specials that I should know that. Like, yeah.
Well, we were just, my son and I were singing the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer the other day. And I'm like, I gotta really dig and remember those.
Here, as we're going to the spiced ones, I'm going to.
So spiced. I'm looking forward to
So
this.
we're gonna do a ginger first.
I love ginger.
And this ginger has not been packaged yet, but it took.
Does that mean we can't buy it yet?
You can't buy it yet. It took.
Or you know it's gonna be my favorite.
It took a third at Mazer this year.
Okay, so we're going over to this side.
So, but now, this is kind of interesting. This one, this actually took third in the dessert meat category.
So, looking
so
at
much
it here, it
honey
says
on
it's
those
a
and-
blackberry blossom honey.
Right.
Do you get the blossom?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I can tell.
So blackberry blossom honey and raspberry blossom honey are really different. The blackberry blossom honey ferments almost neutral, almost like a two-row malt.
Really?
For a beer.
Wow.
And so I like that blackberry blossom honey because the berries that I put in, that's what I taste. Now the raspberry blossom honey throws this kind of green leafy brambly thing,
Okay.
which for certain meads is great. But other meads, you wouldn't necessarily want. In fact, yeah,
I actually feel like this one with the ginger too, honestly, this is actually clarifying my palate. It's really clearing it out. It does, it wipes the slate clean and it's very crisp and it's straightforward, it's very distinct. That's the other thing that we haven't talked about is being able to discern the different flavors that compose what you're drinking is when you can actually identify each of them and they don't become muddled.
It's the balance of being able to have, it's like when you cook, you want to be able to taste all these flavors and you don't want it to be just one blended mess. You want to be able to actually taste a spice, taste your meat, taste your different dishes, and same with the wines and the meats.
Yeah, you're not throwing them in there to bury each other. You want to be able to taste them all.
Accentuate, yeah.
Yeah, unlike, and I'm not throwing my wine peers under the bus, but when you go to a wine tasting, they have certain types of white grapes that they work with, and they have certain types of red grapes that they work with, and those certain flavors, and those are the handful of flavors that they get they're working with. The stuff we've tasted today from end to end, I mean, there's dozens of cool flavors.
There are, and it's something where you've really kind of gone your own way, where you've sort of left the grapes behind and you're focusing a lot on the honey wines and the meads, and you found an entirely different flavor palette where this is so clear. I can taste everything in this. I'm not trying to discern my own flavors, whereas you do it does say this is a dessert.
It is, but again, I'm like one of those people, I'm anti-super sweet. I could drink this.
I know, I can pound that too.
I can drink this all day. Like, this is so amazing. And the ginger is like not overbearing. It's like perfect.
No, ginger is a really strong flavor, and you can tell that you use raw real ginger in here, and the blackberry blossom. I taste that.
Oh yeah.
I know that you were
You
saying
smell
that it ferments out. I taste it. And I smell it.
No, I'm with
Oh,
you.
okay.
You taste honey, but I'm just saying, like for instance, part of the beer judging certification mead exam is you have to identify honeys by color, what it tastes like unfermented, what it tastes like fermented. So, and then doing that research, you kind of You know, because and I have guys that friends that make some great meads and like, oh, I will use like this particular honey.
Right.
And like for what is the honey that they like to use? Star thistle. There's which
I'm not too familiar with that.
It's basically like a desert cactus thing, right? I mean and star thistle is great if you're gonna make like a mint mead or something with some
Mint?
yeah, like you could throw like fresh mint in there, or things that are going to be spiced with certain things because it's kind of a spicy honey.
Right.
To use that with fruit,
right?
I would never do that. Just because, and I'm not saying you couldn't make one that wasn't delicious. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying the natural, flow of the flavors for the honey and the flow of the flavors for what you're trying, the other things like fruit are kind of contradictory. Right.
I love honey that's locally sourced, and so near us we do have the blackberry blossom. Yeah. Obviously, we have an abundance of blackberries in our area. Yeah. The other honey that I see a lot of the time, I don't know, have you ever used it as fireweed?
That's the one. It's not star thistle.
It's fireweed.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And I have a bunch of friends that only use fireweed honey, and they will use it for everything. And it's like,
I feel like fireweed honey, though. I mean, it's local and it's easy to get, and that's usually actually the better purchase from a cost perspective. But it's muddled to begin with. I feel like it's a little danker and heavier to begin with. It doesn't have the bright flavors that something like this would have, or the orange blossom.
The orange blossom is amazing.
Yeah.
The fireweed honey, for what it is, I have access to 10 other honeys that I would prefer to use.
Okay.
Where fireweed would be a good choice.
Right.
So I'm not opposed to it.
Right.
I've judged many meads at fireweed. Some of them are great. Some of them,
Mm-hmm.
And
I just know when I'm at the farmer's market, it's always we have this, that, and the other thing, and then we have fireweed.
Well, and by the way, one thing that I didn't mention about my honey. So I get my honey and fruit from the same fields. I know my honey guys are my fruit guys, my fruit guys are my honey guys. So if I use honey and fruit from the same year, which is typical, then the sugar in my honey and the sugar in my fruit are sourced from the same flower.
Which means they shouldn't be fighting each other. They should be able to blend.
And all
should be a nice marriage.
All together in one, and it gives very harmonious.
It's a nice marriage.
So this is a chai tea. Well, it's not a chai tea. It's a chai blend. So it's got
vanilla chai, honey wine.
It's got cardamom. It's got clove.
What a great Thanksgiving wine.
This is holiday mead right here.
And I should holiday in a glass. If anyone wants their Thanksgiving holiday spirit, Town has some chai.
This also took third.
I was just gonna say, and
it also took third.
It's only third best in the world.
Sorry guys, you're only gonna be having the first and third best in the world.
We gotta work with what we can work with locally.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
What can you do?
how great is that to walk out your front door out here in the Pacific Northwest, but we're in the nice Whidbey Island and Fidalgo Island area. You can walk out your front door and you can find some of the best mead, cider, and wine in the world right here.
Why at your doorstep?
Why do you need to go further?
I don't ever again. I'm just gonna.
No, it's all locally.
Brittany will drive me back up.
Mike's got us. So this is amazing vanilla chai. For anybody who drinks chai, you already know what the flavors are. It's all of those flavors. You can taste all of them, and they're the standard, traditional holiday flavors. It's perfect.
Yeah, a buddy of mine helps me create this blend.
Really?
Yeah.
This is
it's whole star and it's whole and
here on the cardamom. You really taste the cardamom.
As this one ages, certain spices tend to go, and you're right. The cardamom
it's really at the front right now.
But it's good. It's not overpowering.
So because that's one of the things that we like when we were making our own is creating our own spice blends.
We did pumpkin, basically like a pumpkin spice. We did add apple chai.
So that was fantastic. Okay.
So I think
Let's see what
we
we
are
got now.
going to go to the Deception Cellars spiced stuff now.
And one of the things, anybody who's watching, I don't know if you've been noticing that he's actually cleansing our glasses between the different varieties. So before we start the spiced, he cleansed it out, and now we're cleansing them again so that we're not muddling flavors.
And actually, when you have a really good quality wine, mead, beer, well, I don't know about beer, I haven't done too much of that, but you can actually cleanse your palate with a really.
Homemade Chex Mix, which is really good.
Your
Oh
mom
my
made
goodness.
it.
And then I found these wasabi almonds.
I've
And
had
also
these
really
before. Do
good
they work?
palate cleansers. And then we got chocolate over here too.
Oh my
Mix it with
goodness.
any
You
stuff.
just-
I know.
So,
Brittany and her dessert and
Eating
wine
Brittany and
dessert
her
and me.
dessert.
so the
Yeah.
next three that we're going to do, so we ended up having an extra 1,000 gallons of the similar stuff that got blended to make
1,000 gallons.
red blend 1 and red blend 2.
Mhm.
So I was like, what am I gonna do with 1,000 gallons? So the first one, I chocolatized, not dissimilar to the way we chocolatized the chocolate berry, but this one is significantly sweeter, and this one is drier.
Okay.
So that's the first one we're gonna try.
This is still mead.
Yep. This is
I think
still.
all of this stuff is mead.
Yep.
What's that?
The only the piment that we tried, that's the only thing that has grapes.
Which actually, that's another question that I should ask you, because I noticed when I was trying to do my diligent research that there's a lot of debate out there about whether mead and honey wine are truly different, or
They're the same.
well, because a lot of people are arguing that they're the same thing.
They are synonymous terms.
Okay.
Both mead and honey wine is simply a fermented beverage from honey. Now, in my case, I add many fruits. I add many fruits or spices, but it is wine fermented. It is an alcoholic beverage fermented from honey.
Okay.
And I found, like, if I say I make mead, people go, you make meat, you make sausage. You know, if they've never heard the term before, if I say honey wine, even if they don't know what it is or never heard of it before, they make up a bunch of assumptions. They might assume that it's still like wine. They might assume that it tastes like honey because it's made from honey.
Right.
They might assume that it's sweet because honey is sweet. And about 90% or 85 to 90% of the assumptions that they make when I say honey wine are generally true. So.
Well, I mean, it's self-explanatory, but I know that there's debate too about, honey wine versus mead, and whether or not, like, the alcohol percentage classifies one more than the other. What would you consider a standard mead alcohol percent? What should be your bracket?
Well, once again, when you judge mead, there's the hydromels, which are basically 8-9% and below. There's the sack strength, which is basically like 15% and above, and then the standard, which is basically everything in between.
Okay.
So at some level, when we talk about honey wine, there's more control over the alcohol content rather than my grapes have this much sugar and that's what we're fermenting. And like as far as the bigger wines, right? A lot of your ports and things like that are they hit them with brandy or spirits and fortify them, yes.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough,
Which you're getting the same, like, up there with even more
Just-
like clear flavors, where you're not going that fortified brandy route.
That's
You're
correct.
just doing it.
So we
with
just
extra
actually
sugar.
had a fortified brandy,
We did.
and
We
I
just
would
done
say,
it recently.
I shouldn't say anything like that online, but I would say that I think your mead definitely has a lot more characteristic and body that I would prefer.
Thanks.
I enjoy that a lot.
So that's a chocolate.
There's chocolate?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
This is the blackberry raspberry.
I get the chocolate and the like.
and it's not super chocolatey.
I was getting wood with the chocolate, and then I do get a little bit of a
I get a
back
blossom. Is there a blossom in there?
And this one had a bunch of wood in it too.
Yes.
So
I can taste the wood with the chocolate. I don't know.
and I was hoping that the vanillins and the wood would eventually get the chocolate to pop a little more. But I agree with you. I get more wood vanillins than I get chocolate.
Yeah, that would be my number one.
Say again.
What honey was with this one?
This was the same blackberry and raspberry blossom. It's basically the same DNA as this. Instead of this, we put chocolate on. That we put cherries on.
Okay.
Ooh.
So this one, you ever heard of red hatch chili peppers?
Yes.
So you go to New Mexico, and I spent some time as I was an Army contractor for 10 years. I just retired from. Now I do this full time as of August 1st. Yeah.
Oh darn.
Yeah. Retiring from computer science and being a poor winemaker.
You know what? You're doing something you love to do. You'll be wealthy at that.
Do what you love.
As you can tell from the smile on my face, I really like doing this.
Yes.
So this is red hatch chili peppers.
It's not spicy. It's like warming at the back of the palate. It's warming.
My gosh.
Do you get on the finish?
I need a bottle of this too.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so this is tacos. This is going on with some tacos.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
And the cool thing about food pairings with this, because of it's kind of a lot of most of this is red wine-ish, and so it tends to pair well with things that go with red wine. But because of the little bit higher sugar and the higher acidity, it also pairs well with things that go good with white wine, which has more acidity.
That is what I take. I just told her shrimp tacos. I would not get steak.
I know
tacos.
She's like, I want shrimp. I was like, I want steak.
So versatile.
Oh no, this is a shrimp wine. Shrimp right now.
So this is anybody who
or ceviche.
Who might anybody who might kind of like steer clear of something that's spicy or that's not normally on your palate. It's a warming. It is a warming
ceviche
spice.
I'm in.
Can we do some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do some prisoner exchanges?
Yes.
Oh, we should do that sometime. We should bring some food and do it.
All right. Here's the interactive portion of our program.
Okay.
So one is chocolate. What did I give you guys one? One is chocolate, and one is the red hatch chili pepper.
Okay.
And
are we supposed to keep it on our?
No, you're blending them.
Oh.
So like this one, for instance, here. I'll give you just a splash of the baseline, and this was the number one dry spice mead in the world this year.
Number one in the world.
Yeah, he's like, this is number two in the world.
This one's number one.
Yeah,
guys, we're having number one in the world.
This took
by the
more
way.
as the best dry melon in the world this year.
Wow.
I mean, so the best dry method blend, which is spicy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me how I'm doing this.
So try that. And try that. That was what I blended a week ago. So
okay.
I think this was 50-50.
Okay, just to throw this out here, I just ate one of these wasabi nuts.
And it totally changes the
everything.
I know. No. It's so awesome. Yeah, when you eat. Yeah.
Okay, Mark, have you had one of these with this?
I have. They're awesome.
Oh my gosh. Now you have a little bit of this. So, we're gonna start our tasting right now.
You guys just need to come down here.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
It's so
Where are you?
good.
You're late.
Yeah.
You're really late.
All right. So we're doing.
So that's the chocolate. That's
Did
the
you
spice.
try this?
Yeah.
Did you try one of these wasabi nuts?
I did previously.
No, you did not. Hurry up.
I did previously.
You should try it with your.
Okay.
Yeah. The things that turn people on to wine and food, like depending on where where your sweet spot is.
Flavors to me is like that is my favorite part of wine and food. Like if you can find a wine that just makes something pop, it is like, or if you find a mead that makes something pop. I have never found a mead that I would put with seafood, and I just had a mead that I was like, I need camarón ceviche. I was thinking shrimp tacos. I mean, I'm like,
no, this.
Here, so
I've never had.
I'm just going to give you those two, and then I'm going to give you two as well. So
Brittany's being selfish.
So
I don't know what.
That's chocolate.
So just drink these straight.
No, mix it into your cup.
No, pour it on.
Mine.
What? We'll start again.
Redo.
I'm bad at
All
instructions.
right.
Okay.
This right here.
He's like,
taking
I'll train
instructions.
people, and then he meets Brittany, and he's like, never mind, I don't train everybody.
I'm still confident you're trainable.
Okay.
She's teachable.
This can be fixed.
So try that one,
Okay.
and that's 50-50. That's 50-50 with the chocolate and the spice. And then, however, if you think it needs more chocolate, add more chocolate. If you think it needs more spice, add more spice. And you can blend your own, and you can play with it. Yeah, that's the chocolate,
Oh, I don't want
and this is the spice.
Playing by myself, you're not invited.
Good, I just want to play with you anyway. I wanted my own spice.
Well,
And then, this is what I do. Like I'll blend
I just found mine.
like 10
It's
like
basically
like 10 or 12 of these in a night, and then once I get like in this,
okay, try this.
and once I get the
I'm a professional now.
yeah, I like that. That's much more spice than chocolate, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. But you get the spice up front, you get the chocolate in the back.
Yes, it finishes it.
And
It's straight.
and
No, you can have mine. You're not sharing. Okay.
no, but and then if you blend them in a different percentage,
Like more chocolate.
if you blend in a different percentage, the spice and the chocolate will move from the front to the back of your palate. It's so cool.
Okay, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Here we go.
oh, no, I got it. I got it.
You found yours?
Yes,
Found your space?
I got
That's cool.
my happy place.
That's cool.
That's
I just don't want to.
so fun. This is fun. It's great time. I
Well,
mean,
We buy a bottle of each, and then we can each blend our own glass at home.
Yeah. So what I tell people to
I'm having a
do,
great time.
like if you like either one of those, like if one of those two is your favorite, take that and like the Blackberry, and with a bottle of that and a bottle of this, like if you have a party at your house,
Oh my gosh.
depending on what people's sweet spot
and they
is,
can
Christmas party, you guys!
or gee, I want more strawberry, or I want more chocolate, or I want.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna get a case of this. If anyone wants to have an interactive Christmas
You
at
can
our
take
house.
these two meads, and you can take them home, and you can make 25 different meads. You can make 500 different.
I mean,
you can make 25 different.
That's such a
different
good
meads.
idea, though, to just go and have like a blending party for your friends who
I
are
would love
wine
it.
and mead enthusiasts. That's such
Right.
a fun idea where it's you put the sample
Somebody's
out
gonna,
and they.
everybody's gonna find something that they want.
Yeah.
Whether it's a sweetness level, whether it's a fruit, whether it's a spice,
Do you taste
and
ceviche? Coming along with this. This is what I'm
Yeah, a spicier ceviche where you've got some raw fresh jalapenos. There you go. That's what I was going for. Yeah,
I follow you.
I'm on your palate work.
We're on each other's palettes right now.
That's fantastic. That's such a good idea. That's such a fun thing to do. You
Okay,
know,
Mark.
we're
friends.
in the
Finding out the
season
final.
of holiday parties and
I think I just err towards the spicier side, but
that's.
I feel like this. Yeah. I'm.
all right. Speaking of
Here,
holiday
watch this.
parties-
Hold my beer.
Oh, okay.
Here.
I'm loving this so much.
Speaking of holiday parties, we've got a lot of great local events that happen for the holidays. There's several in Anacortes. There's a bunch on the island. Do you have a favorite that you have found yet, Mark? That's a local holiday event. Anything that you have to go to, or
I do. It's called the Tulish Mama's Christmas.
As a Seattle guy,
yes.
I spend a lot of time running off this island, going into town.
Do you go to the Christmas parade down there?
No,
We
not
talked about
really.
that.
I mean, I've taken my kids once, and they're like, yeah, it's cool, let's go. You know. It's
I
all
have
right.
not taken her to the Ballard Market yet, but I love the Ballard Market, like their farmers market. It's phenomenal.
They would not let me sell meat there.
Why not?
I have no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
So we actually first met
Try
you
this one.
at the Coopville Farmers Market.
That's true.
You were at the Coopville Farmers Market, and I bought some meat there and fell in love.
That's
It was
the
love
spice
love
one.
at first sight.
It's a
So
little black currenty.
Mark, no, you don't get mine.
Yeah, just
Take
because
your
it's
own.
just because it's these
Okay,
are
so we have to get a
individually in the
whole
box.
entire face so we can come home and have an interactive meat tasting at home.
Yeah.
So I think what we're getting at is that anybody who wants to try a new fun holiday
You can
event,
make your own.
come get some bottles of meat and try and
Buy it
mix
from Mark,
it.
so it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
And you can mix it up.
Mix and blend your own, and you can find the flavors that match your palate.
I just found mine right now. I'm in palate heaven.
Guys, no, this is fun. You put out a nice charcuterie if you want. The Tulish Mamas can help you.
She keeps saying a charcuterie. I'm really thinking ceviche. I do not know what's going on over here.
Yeah, the charcuterie is awesome.
Because
with this,
no, the Tulish Mamas will help you put together a nice charcuterie. We can help you with some good holiday flavors with that.
We love doing
those. Are going to be coming out along with as soon as my husband helps us finish our.
We have some really
some nice charcuterie boards coming. Look for those for your holiday parties along with Deception Cellars.
And we have a unique merchandise coming out.
I'm gonna keep blending here. Are we supposed to finish?
Here, hold on.
Oh,
no, go ahead. Throw those in there.
Okay.
Here, watch this. Nothing up my sleeve.
I'm just gonna see what happens if I. Oh, what are we doing?
It's gonna be amazing.
This is
Mark hasn't made anything that's not good, so I don't know.
This is just a splash.
I have
of the Blackberry, and you might need just swirl around a little bit.
Okay.
And you might need a little bit more chocolate, a little more black currant, but taste it first
and
see.
More black currant.
Yeah, I think your black currant.
Yes.
So that one. So now it's basically the chocolate berry, the spiced chocolate berry.
I had the spice with the black. It was a Blackberry I had.
Did the spice go away? Or still come through?
No, it comes through.
Cool.
It comes through, and it actually kind of. I mean, it's a different product, but you know how people have their hot chocolate with the cayenne pepper in it.
Yeah.
And so this kind of reminds me of that, where it's like a nice holiday flavor where it's got pepper on it.
What if we do a hot chocolate with that spicy mead?
Oh no!
Well, you can also heat any of these up like a German blue wine.
We just did a mulled wine,
so we do a lot of mulled wine. Can you do that with these?
Yeah.
Or
they're indestructible.
They're indestructible.
I told you I can put a tea cork on any of these, and we can come back 5 years later, and they was.
We're gonna bring Mark and his family over.
Yeah.
For a holiday festival. You're coming over with your family. We're gonna do
a goat and mead.
A goat and mead.
You've got goats.
Oh, we'll bring Hef.
Yeah, we'll do goats and we'll do meads.
Hef is our mascot goat.
Yeah, he is.
All right. So you don't eat him. You just pet him.
He's adorable.
You won't stop petting him once you. We're gonna be like Mark. You're gonna be.
Is he Angora?
No,
he's just cuddly. He doesn't know he's a goat. He thinks he's a baby.
He does. He comes over and he puts his feet on you. He's like, hey, pick me up.
Yeah. Keely brought him over one time and had him in a diaper, and I was cooking dinner. I look and I was like, Keely, is your goat on the couch sitting there eating chips with the rest of my kids? She's like, yeah.
He was sitting
on the couch.
Was sitting on the couch.
And they would eat a chip, and then they'd give him a chip, and he was watching cartoons.
He went trick-or-treating with us this year, and he rode in the wagon.
Nice.
And we were yelling at my husband the whole time because we're like, hey, you need to hurry up and walk. He's like, I can't. Every time I stop, people come to visit. I can't stop. Like, and I'm like, then just keep walking. Like, when someone comes up, you just walk faster. And he's like, but these little kids were asking to pet the goat. Like, I couldn't do that. So we just stand there. 20 minutes later, I'm like, where's my husband at? And he's like, at the very first house still with people petting the goat. Brittany and I had to finally walk up and grab the goat and be like, we're running with it.
Yeah. No, we're going to touch the goat. So we've got, okay, this was, I'm sorry.
That was your own creation.
This is amazing. So, I mean, I think that's a fantastic party idea, really.
Actually, it's a really fun party idea. That's to mix your own.
Yeah, to mix your own. Keep it light, keep it fun.
Brittany and I do that all the time.
So, which is another fun question that we've got. When you're making what music are you listening to?
Or
I normally just do something like, Alexa, play hard rock from 1972.
Yes!
Play
Good
hard
for
rock
you.
music from
Brittany, you
1972
just stole Brittany's
on Amazon Music.
Man from my own heart. Making all the holidays listening to 70s rock.
We do a lot of dancing to 70s rock at home.
You got Deep Purple. So we listened to some rock
Alexa,
and roll.
Pause. Alexa, pause. Oh, she's over there.
She's being very happy right now.
Well, I just hung TV like 2 days ago, and I got soundbar up, and then now, yeah, the Alexa does the soundbar, so we can get out of here and set it.
Well, it looks great in here. This place it's definitely been completely renoed, and you've got nice flooring in, you've got your bar in, you've got the holiday spirit going with your Christmas tree is up already. You're further ahead than I am. I decorated my house, my trees are up.
I feel like all
we're
our
lights up
Christmas
the next
now
2
is
days,
Mead.
so we can get lights around across the whole building and
Yeah. We've got lots of Christmas cheer here. We've got lots of mead here. We've got our honey wine. I shouldn't say mead. We've got honey wine. Same thing, guys.
This
It's
is a
amazing.
one-stop shop. So if you want to get some gifts for your family, friends, spouses,
Absolutely.
mothers, mother-in-laws, people you want to just ooh and
No,
ah,
there's-
this is the place to stop.
This is amazing. And I'm looking at some of these other ones. So Pyman. So this is.
We had that in the beginning.
We did. And I'm looking at it, and it is literally the only one that you're making that incorporates the grapes.
Which is not for sale right now.
which we don't have any of that for sale. That was just
Oh.
what I brought from home, so you could
Okay.
understand what a
Never
Pyman
mind.
was.
JK.
Yeah.
You can wish you had that.
It was really interesting. Sorry, guys.
I'm working with I'm working with the 2 winemakers that I normally work with, one in Washington and one in Oregon.
Okay.
And then I'm also working with a couple of French winemakers right now
Really?
Oh.
of creating some badass Pymans from some badass mead and some badass French wine.
So our retirement plan is to get a vineyard.
Well, it's on the rope. Shouldn't advertise it.
I'm sorry. Never mind. Long time ago.
I want to know. So you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about your passion project, obviously being the berry full fruit and even chocolate flavors that the Pacific Northwest has. What about some of the lighter flavors? Have you played with any of the lighter color flavors?
Yeah, my intent is to make big ass red wines from honey.
Okay.
Can I
So
make
you want the
awesome white wines from honey too? I can.
You can.
But
That's
but
always very
They're not gonna be bold.
but my intent is to create a portfolio initially of lots of breads.
Mm-hmm.
And will we go into the whites? Yep. But for the whites, because the honey character tends to come through more than the reds.
Right.
I'm really particular. Like I'm having like my honey guys take their bees. They start down in almond fields,
Whoa.
and then they go to the orange blossom fields, and then
Okay.
they work their way up the coast, and that starts in like the February March time frame.
Yeah. That'd be great.
So I'm trying to work with my honey guys to develop some relationships with some guys that do and gals that do lots of orange ones.
Mm-hmm.
I really.
Have you ever looked into like watermelon? So watermelon, it actually ferments like a nut. It's nutty.
You mean like fermenting watermelon?
Yeah.
I've played with some a little bit, but
And rhubarb too.
I apologize.
Wait.
The award on the left. The award on the left
Right.
is for the top mead in Washington from the Washington Mead and Cider Cup. The first time I won it, and I won it with a rhubarb. And
Really?
And I still have some of that at home, and I meant to bring a bottle today to share with you. And
Oh. Mark,
Okay.
we'll be back. We'll be back. No, we're coming back.
Well, my intent is to have a couple of extra new things every week.
Yeah.
To give people a
That's-
reason to come back. Hey, I've tried all your stuff. Oh, I haven't tried it yet.
Really ambitious. You are like,
Okay, guys, we want to
Yeah.
cover things a week.
you're not just
Mark,
coming
raise
here
your
once.
hand.
You're coming here multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, guys, you can't just come once.
No.
This is
No.
not a one done. Thank you, ma'am. This is a hurry up, come back.
Yes.
Yeah, my Cellars is pretty evil. I've got things back from 2011.
So, Mark,
That
do
I-
not give Brittany and I your address.
We're
probably gonna.
We're coming over.
Mark, how are you doing? We were getting experimental and we were thinking that we should play with
I
Mead.
made a dessert. I feel like
We should
the-
pair
the
it.
mead you have
Let's
in
go
your
to the
cellar.
cellar.
I have pretty fun parties because my parties pretty much I open
Mark,
my
we haven't
cellar up
invited
and
to any parties yet.
it's fun.
We're gonna add ourselves to the list.
Yeah, we're coming. We're gonna bring the party. Sorry. Oh my goodness.
I think we would be a great party. We have really good food pairings, actually. We're really good at
Yes,
this.
we will cook.
Awesome.
Chili
these
prawns
are
for days.
amazing.
Apparently I'm on a shrimp thing.
You are today.
Yeah.
These are amazing. And you've only got the double berry tart your session, you've got your primans, spiced mead, traditionals, and the honey fruit wine. The amazing number 1 and number 3 in the world red blend wines. They're amazing, guys. You need to, if you haven't been here yet, what are you waiting for? Tulish Mums are here. Where are you?
We are loving it.
Where are you?
Yeah, this week I figured out the blend for red blend 3 too.
Do you have a sample of that?
He's not ready.
I do, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna put it on this camera.
Yeah, we're not
Okay.
gonna roll it out yet.
We're gonna turn this off now, guys. We
Yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah, they might have to. All right.
Signing off.
We had all of our.
We're done.
We've gone
You
through
have tried
everything.
all 16.
Okay.
So
And then you
there
can
are-
serve your own.
yes. So there are 16 available right now. Get down here. You are open every day of the week.
12 to 7.
Every day of the week, 12 to 7. Deception Cellars, which is at Sharp's Corner in Anacortes, Washington.
Support local, stay local.
Support local, stay
This is
local.
amazing.
Not only that, but I mean, how often does somebody get to be able to walk out the front door and find
Top 1 in the world. Top
Yeah,
3
number
world,
1
top
in the
2
world, world
Doesn't
championship,
happen.
world championship mead. You've got cider.
It happens here in
wine.
this building right now, here with Mark.
Free wine tasting, and you can sample 4 world champion wines. Who does that? Who
Mark
does that
does.
for free?
Mark does that.
No.
That's how confident he is. That's how good his wine is.
Yeah.
You guys need to show up.
You'll
No,
find
and
something
you know-
like
Not only that, but he's really great to talk to.
He's
Come
been
down.
very hospitable. We have to
Have
really
a
thank
glass
Mark
of
for that.
mead with him. I mean, and maybe you guys can talk about
Your next holiday party.
the next holiday party and talking. Mark, probably, I'm sure he's got lots of good stories from how he came across this and.
I want to
touring
hear where he went touring to
Germany
find all about
and
Germany.
Asia. Yes. All right. So we're gonna pour ourselves another drink and we're gonna sign off and
We wanna
see you
see
the
what's
next
off the
time.
books.
We're gonna see what's off the books. Sorry guys, this stuff is not for you. You're gonna have to come down here.
All right, Tulish Mamas signing off.
Hey, are you signed up?
No, I'm not.